What's up, everybody? It's William Shatner's face favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Mezco's 112 Halloween Mike Myers. This is on loan to me from Baltimore, Brandon, a good friend of mine that I wish I had more time with. Wish he came through more often. But he's a good dude, and he let me take a look at this. This is out of his personal collection. I've had it since Halloween, honestly, but I just haven't got around to getting to it, and now I'm here. In typical Mezco fashions, he comes with a fair amount of accessories, so let's go ahead and get started. He comes with a display base, typical Mezco fashion. We have the Halloween symbol there, like the poster bit, and then the Halloween kind of font and everything. It looks nice, it looks sharp, and it's painted on. And then you can use this peg, or you can swap out the peg with this stand that'll swivel at the bottom, and then hinge, swivel, and then the clips are on a hinge. You can also display it with this tombstone of Judith Myers, which is pretty cool, and it's really well done. Looks like there's airbrushing going on, dry brushing. The sculpting is beautiful, the little damage in the tombstone itself. It's got some weight to it. It's really a well done piece. And I just meant to do that and then say, and it stands very well. And it does. I just put it down a little too haphazardly, but it does stand very well. In the opening footage, he had a right holding hand and a left fist hand. He also has the opposite fist and holding hand to accompany those. He comes with two posing relaxed hands and then two posing gonna get you hands. And they're actually all done really well, to include the wash around the rim of the fingernails to make it look dirty, and then the freckled, speckled paint on the hands. And speaking of the holding hands, they hold the knives just fine, of which he comes with two, both done identically with one exception that's pretty obvious, but the handles are painted brown, and then the blades and the bits that hold the handles together are painted silver, and then it's like a metallic silver, and then we have the red sort of splash paint on the blade itself. He also comes with a jack-o'-lantern that does light up. The battery pack is right there. The batteries are included, and there's an on-off switch. I'm not going to be going through all that, but you get the general idea. And then the pumpkin itself has the orange paint with a wash, and then the yellow paint painted on the inside for the eyes, nose, and mouth. And then the lid hides all of the battery pack, so all of that is done fairly well. Let me see if I can figure out how this goes. Maybe like this. Ah, yeah, the 50-50 chance. I've never really been good at 50-50 chances. But this goes on there somehow, some way, like that. And then lastly, it comes with like the ghost garb disguise, which is pretty cool. On the inside, you get a little bit of a frame of the chest, and then you get the socket for the ball peg, and then the eyes are painted, and you have the glasses that sit over top. The glasses are painted as the translucent plastic for the lenses. It's really cool, and we'll show how that looks real quick. Nothing to it but to do it. It goes on fairly easy. I did it upside down so I could flip the sheet up and sort of slide in the ball peg, so to speak. And then articulation-wise, you still get a fair bit of that ball peg out of it. And the plastic inside keeps the general shape of the ghost, so I think it's actually pretty smart. And let's talk about the figure. So the head is on a double ball peg from the head into the neck, and it connects down here at the neck. And maybe it's me, and I could be from a different planet, but I feel like it makes the neck look a little long. Now, if you bend the head over so he kind of has that menacing look, I feel like it hides it well enough, but objectively to me, that looks a little long. Long neck, little foot action. And then we have the face, which is painted tremendously. It's got like that speckle paint on it, and it's a good color that they chose. Sometimes I feel like when they try to make Mike Myers figures, like it's too white, and it's not. It's definitely more of a cream, and that looks good. And then we have the hair, which is brown. It looks like it's washed and then dry brushed. The eyes are painted underneath. It all looks pretty sharp. Articulation wise, you can get down to there, up to there, side to side, confused dog look. All of that works fairly well. You could probably even pop his collar, but I'm not going to mess with the soft goods too much. Speaking of soft goods, let's just go ahead and talk about them, since there's not much to really talk about. You have the undershirt, which looks like it's more like a nylon. That looks good, and it's a different texture from the outer suit, which does look good as well. I feel like this one looks like it has a little bit more weight to it, which is one of my big complaints with soft goods, especially in this scale. This one I feel like works better than most, and maybe because it's a bit simpler. You have like some weathering done to the suit, to the overalls, and all that works. Looks a little goofy from the back, but from the front it looks pretty good. It's even like bunched up here. It kind of gives it a better look, I think. I think it's overall, I think it's pretty smart. So we had, I can't tell exactly. I think it's a single ball peg from the chest into the diaphragm, and then the diaphragm into the pelvis. It feels like it's on a ball peg as well, but it's very tight. Utilizing both, you still can get the waist swivel out of it, but not much else, so it's a little limited in that regard. The shoulders, to me, feel like hinges that are connected to ball pegs that go inside the chest. Hard to tell with the soft goods on, but they are extremely tight. Like, they're just not toleranced well. I'm just like so scared. You can get them out to just about 90 degrees, and then you can get it, even with the soft goods, almost straight up in the air. So all of that works well. There's a bicep swivel, it feels like, but once again, it's really tight. Maybe there isn't. There may not be. It may just swivel at the shoulder. I can't tell. So that's a bit of a bummer. The arms just aren't, the fit and finish of the arms is just not well done. Double hinged elbow, it feels like to me. That gets you 90 degrees, and then the wrists are on ball hinges, so you can get up, down. You can swivel at both ends and get in, out. So no issues there. And then the hips feel like T-jointed ball joints to me. Fairly limited because of the soft goods. You can try to get a little bit more slack up in there. So not hateful. I don't think you'll need them to be in a dynamic pose for your shelf. And then forward to about there. So once again, not bad, especially for the character. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee. That works perfect. And then the shoes are done really well. Sculpted really well, painted really well, little weathering done with dirt and stuff and mud on the ends of the shoes. So all that works extremely well. And it feels like a double ball peg from the lower part of the ankle into the foot, which gets you an ankle tilt up, a little bit of one down, and a rocker. So fairly effective legs. It's just the arms that are kind of the weak link here. Size comparison wise, there he is with a Marvel Legend and an import 112. So he sits a little bit bigger than your imports and about the same size as your Legends in terms of height. You know, he's not quite as wide and disproportionate as a Marvel Legend, but I'd say he's a decent height, and I think Mike Myers should be a large and imposing figure. So I think the height is actually smarter than it may seem at kind of surface value. Final thoughts wise, my negatives really center around the arms. Like, the joints are just not toleranced well. They're too tight. They're scary to manipulate. It could be a case of individual results will vary, but I did a quick little Google and it seems like it might be a more widespread issue than a one-off problem. I also could have liked a few more accessories in terms of props. The gravestone is a nice touch, and we'll look at that here in a second, but it's just a little limited in terms of your display options. Like, when I was going through to take pictures and stuff, I was like, man, like, what else am I gonna do? But at the same time, you know, maybe the character is a little limited in that regard too, and that's totally fair. There's not a whole lot of bells and whistles to Mike Myers. He kind of just is this force of nature. So maybe I should be more appreciative of the ones we got. And that's a fair criticism of my criticism. Plenty of positives though. The soft goods work extremely well. The display presence definitely is there, even with the props. Like, it may be enough, you know, honestly. I like the weathering on the soft goods. I love usually everything Mezco does with their sculpted and painted plastic. So that all is up to snuff. So it's a recommend for me if you love this character or this franchise. I think that there's enough here that you'll enjoy where it'll be worth it to you. I gotta say, I'm not the biggest Mezco guy in the world, but I'll tell you what I find alluring about them. They're kind of like the Pops of 112 scale. They get tons of licenses, everything scales properly, it's all relatively clean. Like, there is an allure to that. There's something charming about that, and I honestly wish them the best, even though I'm not a big supporter of their products because they're just ultimately not for me. I really do honestly and truly wish them the best because I dig their angle. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.